Thank you, Doug Sackman. This movie had its first theatrical engagement at the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
All right.
And it was in a series called The Contenders, which the Museum of Modern Art says is their series of the best movies from around the world. In that series were David Lynch's new film, Coen Brothers, Scorsese, Woody Allen, Sofia Coppola, and Troma. And the reason for that is we had this was the best cast. Sorry, I'm drooling whenever I think of it. I drool. This was the best cast Troma, Michael Hurst, and I, oh, thank you, Toxic, have had in our 40 years. The best cast. So may I introduce Asta Paredes, Clay Von Carlin, and Doug Sackman, the Toxic Ranger, and Mark Witt, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in the back of the room is Joe Narode, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Narode in the movie and works for Troma, and he's got some amazing merchandise there. If you want to support independent cinema, please purchase some merchandise.
Tro merchandise.
Tro merchandise. Who's moderating?
I'm going to moderate.
Or is Robert, are you moderating?
I think they asked me to take over the moderating duties here. So.
Big mistake.
Do it moderately. I'll take it easy. I'll take it easy. So let's start right off. Does anyone have any questions for the Troma team here? It's right here.
You. Oh, me? Were you in the first Rocky movie, Lloyd?
Are you talking to Asta?
I wasn't born yet.
Lloyd.
Yes, I was in the first Rocky movie. I was the drunk in front of the bar that Stallone picks up and puts on his shoulder and brings into the bar and sits him next to another drunk. And interestingly enough, that scene, the exterior was shot in Philadelphia. And not far from Pat Stakes, and then the interior was shot in Los Angeles. So I had to take an airplane from New York and pay for my ticket in order to continue the scene. And recently, Matt Mangiarides, one of the producers of this very movie, found in the basement of the Troma building a set of Super 8 movies, home movies that I took during Rocky in 1976. I worked at Rocky here in Philadelphia. And I had behind-the-scenes stuff, and we sent it to the director, John G. Avildsen, who cut it down to 8 minutes, and he and I wrote a script to go with it. And if you get the Blu-ray, this new Blu-ray set of Rocky, you can see those behind-the-scenes stuff from 1976.
Yeah!
Way before...
Look, you're understanding your position on Rocky. Lloyd not only acted in Rocky, but he's also the location manager on Rocky. So you location scouted and found those steps.
Yes, indeed, we did. Well, actually, what happened was Rocky didn't have enough money to film on location. And Stallone and John G. Avildsen, with whom I had worked on Joe, Cry Uncle, and there was another one, Slow Dancing in the Big City. And John had the Troma crew, which was non-union. We had the Troma crew come to, the Cry Uncle crew come to Philadelphia, and we shot on all the real locations, which is what Stallone and John G. Avildsen wanted. The producers did not want to do it, but got convinced to try the non-union until the Teamsters and the big union found us, and then the others went back to California, and I had my legs broken. Yeah, well, we were kind of the producers of that. And Michael Hurst, my partner, and his wife were syncing up the dailies on our upright moviolas, which are now probably 100 years old. And Maris Hurst, they were hearing Stallone's voice, and it was like a and they had no idea what they were syncing, what the thing was. But meanwhile, it's one of the great films of all time, and Troma's basement had this incredible found footage. But enough about John J. Avildsen, Oscar-winning director.
Let's talk about Lloyd Kaufman, the director.
Hey, when you try out for the film, what did you actually think was going to happen? Because we saw this all tonight, and this was crazy.
Yeah.
So what was your first instinct when you read the script and you tried out for the role?
Well, that's actually, yeah, she was asking what did I think was going to happen when I tried out for the role, basically. Well, before I audition for any role, I do, if I have the time, I do a lot of research. I wasn't incredibly familiar with Troma before, but I had seen Class of Nuke Em High, and then I put it all together in my head. I watched all of it on YouTube, actually, which a lot of the movies are on YouTube right now because of the 40th anniversary of Troma. And I watched the whole Class of Nuke Em High.
Support independent filmmakers.
And I have this weird tick that I've done a lot of plays. I mostly do theater, and I've played a lot of the same roles or been compared to Marissa Tomei, and I'd heard she was in Toxic Avenger, so I thought it was a sign. So I went to audition, and I had to audition for 9 callbacks over the period of a month and a half. So Troma made sure I was more than aware of what I was getting myself into, and I had a basic script, and every time I went in, I had to, they'd be like, all right, here's a thing, but like, do it how you would do it. And so I would change lines, change things, and then the part would evolve. And then eventually I had one audition where I came in and they made me and Catherine and one other girl watch the behind the scenes of a bunch of Troma films to see what we were getting into. And then one of the auditions was Catherine and I reading the script of the film with Lloyd watching us. So he was looking at our reactions and everything. And honestly, like, everything fit the integrity of the character, fit the style that I had seen Troma portray, hyper satire, and I was more than down for it. And they made me so comfortable, and they're some of the coolest, realest people I've ever worked with. And
What'd you get for the lesbian scene?
what?
That was more of a comment. And then the
I'm trying to...
lesbians.
Troma loves lesbians. We also love French police.
How many times has that car scene been used?
This actually was
All of
reshot.
them.
This is all new.
It's been used all of the time.
Yeah, we shot that.
We shot
That was
that.
shot for this film. Actually.
Yeah, I think I also did some location managing for that.
You did, I believe, and you found the footage in the basement.
Yeah, I did. That's so
Honestly,
weird.
I just love recycling. And then
Reuse, recycle,
Reduce,
restock,
reuse,
rewrap. What are the other ones? Rerun.
re-up.
Reproduce.
Inspired by Lloyd Kaufman.
That's the only reason I came here.
By the way, we have a Troma celebrity in the audience, if I may interrupt for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
It's Fawn Austin.
Super Troma.
Super Troma, Fawn Austin, 16 years with the Troma team.
Sweet 16. Sweet 16.
She's been cast! Sorry.
Oxy's.
You. The hesitant hand.
Yeah, Lloyd, I have a question for you. You're really good at getting actors and actresses, well, mostly actresses, to get naked on screen and screen. Are there any plans for you yourself to get naked in any of the future?
You haven't seen that movie?
Well,
I'm actually doing a film, so maybe I'll get you to be
I
naked.
think there's pictures floating around on the internet somewhere if you search.
if you go to youngasianboys.com, you may be able to find me. I think Brian Singer's on that one too. Anyway, you don't want to see me naked. It's so disgusting. I can't imagine what she puts up with.
Give it up to the New York State Film Commissioner.
Yeah, Pat Switchkoff, ladies and gentlemen. 40 years.
How many people are Troma fans? Like, how many Troma There needs to be more people like you supporting independent films and independent art. Like, that's like really what they all stand for. You know, there's Troma's 40 years in the business now, running independently strong. You know, we premiered this movie at Cannes. That was amazing. We all got to go to Europe. Went to Cannes on the French Riviera with blood and guts and, you know, foamy mouths and green slime.
Nuclear meltdowns all over the
We occupied Cannes.
We did, and there is a documentary in the works about...
A documentary or a documentary?
A documentary. That's the thing of this movie, the documentary.
Well, what's interesting about the Occupy Cannes documentary is it was crowdfunded. So there's a whole new way to go around Comcast. Right, we're in Comcast country. Right, you're paying for the next building. These are the fuckers that are going to screw up the internet. Right?
Media consolidation, folks.
They're going to put a toll road on. They're going to make you charge if you want decent service. If Troma wants to put their website on the internet, we're going to have to pay a shitload of money to get decent quality so our fans can see our stuff, and we can't afford it. So there would be no Kickstarter were it not for the open internet or net neutrality. There'd be no fucking Netflix. And now these big guys like Netflix are making deals already with Comcast. You know, Comcast is lobbying with 69 other giant conglomerates to fuck up the internet, and they succeeded. Yesterday, the FCC said, yeah, you know about it. So the point is, look at this great thing, Kickstarter. It's a way to go around Mr. Comcast. It's great innovation, but it wouldn't be there without the net neutrality or the open internet. Nor would Netflix, and frankly, Troma wouldn't. How would you know these guys here at the MoCA?
Phil Mocha.
Yeah, Phil Mocha. How would you all even know that this existed? So you got to let your elected representatives understand that if net neutrality goes away, you're going to make sure that they go away. It's very, very important. The same way we got rid of SOPA. We got rid of SOPA. We must preserve net neutrality in the open internet. That's very, very important. And Occupy Cannes, which is a very subversive movie, Occupy Cannes, which is a fighting against the elitists, it was crowdfunded, and there would be no way for us to do that were it not for the open...
Lloyd was actually escorted off the red carpet because his jacket, it was really pimping. It was like this paisley, like beautiful jacket, you know, it probably cost millions of dollars, but he was escorted off because he was not wearing a black suit with the thing. They asked him, it's like, that's freaking Lloyd freaking Kaufman. You're trying to get off the carpet?
He was also wearing a wooden bow tie, but that had nothing.
That was gangster. That was just straight gangster.
I got one question. What's your next film, and what can we expect next? All of us.
Volume 2.
Look, this is volume 1. we have another one.
Volume 2.
We're glad you're all paying attention.
Maybe 1.5 and then 2?
As much crazy stuff happens in this movie, it's like 1,000 times more.
Oh yeah, it's definitely 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, hold it. In addition to Volume 2, which the Troma team says is going to be better than Volume 1, we've got a movie. The guy who gets, you remember the amazing line, "You stole
Patty drives the bus?
You stole my heart.
Oh.
You stole my heart.
Fernando.
That guy is directing a movie this summer for us called Mutant Blast.
Director of Banana Motherfucker, the best short film I've ever seen.
And he also did some effects on Nuke Em High as well.
Yes.
It's all banana point of view.
Potassium.
Anyway, so that's a film that is in the oven, so to speak.
You. Volume 2, let's go.
Mr. Kaufman, this movie had the feel of classic Troma. Is there like a standby or a series of standby directions that you go by for your cast, like that give that classic Troma feel?
The gentleman who happens to be wearing a Cannibal Holocaust T-shirt. On the other hand, he's a pretty scary guy. He has asked, is there something in the cast that I look for, or Michael Hurst and I?
In your direction.
Some methods, right?
Is it that sort of classic Troma feel? Are there a series of directions that you give to the cast?
Well, we give the cast a lot. The cast wrote a lot of this script, as we had 3 months of rehearsals. So the cast did a lot of the writing. They also, for the most part, they design their own costuming. If you'll notice, Chrissy and Lauren each have color, their consistent color and all that kind of stuff. But I think in terms of my acting style, it tends to be sort of like the old silent movies where people go, it's like Yeah, D.W. Griffith.
It's more the action than the...
It's about, I think, honestly, one thing I noticed is it's about clarity. Like, you'd be like, don't we want to know what they're doing? Can you say that clearer? Or, what's their name again? Make sure you say that
really,
clear.
the actors are as much directing this movie as I do. It's just there's a certain style that I tend to make them do.
Infectious energy.
Well, it's also cartoony too, which probably is not. That's why we're, not Batman.
Well, actually,
hyper-realism.
Taking that question into account, there is something that we've talked about on the set of Return to Nuke Em High. I've worked with Lloyd for about 13 years, over 13 years, and I've been a fan. Before that, I've seen every single movie.
Doug is in Citizen Toxie, by the way, if you care to see it.
I play a special student.
And All the Love You Can, which is we did the follow-up movie, Occupy.
Classic.
Doug is also not just in All the Love You Can, if I may say, but Tales from the Crapper.
Oh yes, I am in Tales from the Crapper.
He's also an award-winning director, so you guys know that. He won a couple AVN awards this year.
Coming out in a little bit. As well. But in this, talking about his inspiration, on the set, there are a lot of overall themes and recurring characters that are in every single one of your movies. There is the Catholic Irish priest. There's always a party scene. There's always an American flag. There's always these recurring themes in every single movie, and it's the trademarks of our movies. And is there a kind of a going into that? Is that intentional or?
I think some of it, the bright colors, a lot of it is there on purpose. Sure, the blind. There's a lot of.
There's always a blind person.
Deprivation of the senses, kind of thing. Yeah, but
there's always a toxic
but there are lots of themes in this movie but
well, there's new themes, but then there's always. I mean,
timeless. Don't fall off the
timeless themes. Timeless themes is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There are.
Merchandising.
There's a hand.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a related question as far as acting goes. There were so many just high energy characters, and I was kind of curious actually about Eugene. I noticed like the tendons in your neck.
We work for hours.
We're on a strict diet when you're on a trauma film.
All right, go ahead.
It looked almost painful how physical you got with the character, and I was kind of just curious what you could say about getting into that character and how it felt.
Nick Bridges.
The way I got into the character was I basically channeled all the energy that I had reserved, and I thought about what it was like to try really hard to be accepted and to never be accepted. And then I thought, oh, this is a trauma movie, so I have an excuse to just go over the top with it. And nobody ever told me to take it down a notch. I drank a lot of coffee.
He also took a lot of naps in between takes.
But thank you for noticing the tendons. I work them out regularly.
Tara, do you want to talk a little bit about where the actors lived and the magical...
And what kind of creatures we had to avoid being bitten by?
Yes, absolutely. So we all lived at a majestic location. We lived in an abandoned funeral home. Yes, haunted, if you believe in that shit. But it was previously owned by like one of the biggest mob bosses in all of Western New York. And it was literally like living in a fucking post-apocalyptic wasteland, because if you look towards the end of the street, it was a series of foreclosed homes.
Niagara Falls, New York on the American side basically looks like Camden. It was the perfect setting for apocalyptic night.
Or season 1 of The Walking Dead, basically.
Exactly. What was the guy who owned the funeral home? Don Magadino? Don the Undertaker Magadino. And he wasn't just like, he was the Don of the Mafia that like basically ran booze from Canada to Miami. Like he ran everything. And there were several accounts that he owned a funeral parlor, so
people would come by,
bodies would disappear in that funeral
parlor. Pull up in front of him and be like, do you know who lived there?
Yeah. The house, actually the parking lot out back where we shot a lot of the like explosive special effects, and we spent nights hanging out there and pacing in the parking lot with Tara Miller. that used to be his sister's house, or it was like his house or something, and these guys actually blew it up. Like the fucking house blew up. I was reading that in the book, and it blew up, and now it was the parking lot for our spot, so it made space for all our
There's a book
film
about
vehicles and
Magadino,
stuff.
there's a book about it.
It's pretty intense, but yeah, the rest of Niagara Falls is there's like.
Well, we had 80 people.
There's a giant casino. It looks like a heroin.
Tara, what were the living conditions like? How did we sleep? Did we have boys and girls rooms?
Wants to talk about spiders.